This is Canada Now with Jeff Sammut on Canada Talks, Sirius XM 167.
Let's look at what can be done about the negative effect of digital technology in Canadian classrooms. And she's recently earned her Master's of Education at Nipissing University, serves as an occasional secondary teacher with the Peel District School Board, and is an educational researcher who will be one of the speakers in Montreal at Congress 24, Canada's largest humanities and social sciences conference. It's taking place June 12th to June 21st. Vedrana Vodopivets joining us on Canada Now. Vedrana, appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Ontario is going to crack down on cell phone use in schools this fall, but do you believe there needs to be more of a targeted approach?
Yeah, that is correct. I do believe that. So as more teachers and students are reporting distractions and calling for more responsible use of digital technology in class, I think we're heading in the right direction with this initiative. However, more needs to be clarified before we can actually move on. A couple of things worth mentioning. So, for example, according to the policy, the students are required to turn off their devices or set them to silent mode to avoid distraction, and they're also expected to store them out of view. But the problem with this is that devices such as smartwatches and cell phones can be set to silent but still vibrate to notify users of incoming messages or calls. And this can be distracting.
Oh, sure. I know.
And
I was just going to say, I think we all know that, right? Because, we think I'm going to tune out, and then you put your phone on silent mode or something, but, it might flash a light or it might vibrate and we're like, yeah, there it is. And then we're distracted. It's like I think, and part of what we need to do as a society is be able to put our phones down and ignore them. And I don't think we're doing a good enough job of relaying that to our kids.
Right. And then there's other things like, for example, that the policy also indicates the band shouldn't walk SMS. So, and then the questions many educators will have is, what does this mean? And things like consistency. There needs to be consistency across the province, across school boards and our communities, because according to the policy change, the school boards must develop their own local policy outlining how they will enforce the restrictions. But how can we ensure that all school boards are following the same protocol when it comes to regulating the use of digital devices in class?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's. I think Ontario anyway is using an oversimplification, and talking about, hey, we need to do a better job of putting phones away, and when the time is right and when we need to do that. But looking at technology overall. How can technology be removed when it's become entrenched in everyday life? There's got to be a better way of incorporating technology into education, because there's no doing away with technology. It's the world we live in now.
Correct. But my interpretation of this latest initiative is that it will not ban technology from our classrooms, but it will just regulate the use of it. So according to the government, the teachers are expected to use their discretion when deciding on whether to use digital technology to, let's say, present lesson plans or instruct students to use their cell phones for, let's say, research. I think it's impossible to remove technology from class. I mean, it will always be used for learning by teachers, as I said, to make their presentations more interesting, or by students to help them learn more effectively. But so my understanding is that we're not removing it, we're just learning to use it differently.
How are other parts of the world, Vedrana, using technology to enhance learning?
Well, like Canada, many other countries are using technology to enhance learning. So as educators, we use it to differentiate instruction and engage different learners and make interesting presentations, and of course, help students with special needs learn more effectively. But we know that with the use of technology, we have accomplished a lot, but we're also seeing a lot of challenges that come with the use of technology in the classroom, and that has become a global issue. And so, for example, we know based on last year's UNESCO reports, that 1 in 4 countries have already banned cell phones from class. And some European studies are already reporting that these bans have led to higher academic achievement and improvements in learning. So these are some ways that the rest of the world is dealing with the issue of using technology in the classroom. But we have to keep in mind that these are new initiatives in education and that we must give them some time to see what their effects will be on learning.
How should students, Vedrana, have any kind of a say in what policies are put into place? It's a hard question, because as educators, we want to engage our students and encourage them to actively participate in their learning. However, when it comes to technology, we as adults, as teachers, as parents, as researchers, we know that if used irresponsibly, it distracts students from learning and negatively impacts their education. So before we can answer this question, we need to ask ourselves, how old are our students? Can we trust them to use technology responsibly? Because all students are different and have different needs and abilities. Some can use technology responsibly and others cannot, and we simply have to draw the line somewhere. And I think if we could, just starting maybe with this argument, if we could trust all our learners with the use of technology in the classroom, we wouldn't be discussing the issues we're having today. That's a good point. That's a good point. So you are just one of the speakers in Montreal at Congress 2024, Canada's largest humanities and social sciences conference, taking place June 12th to 21st. How do you think your findings and research on this will be received there?
I'm very excited to have this opportunity to share my findings with other researchers and all those who share my passion for education and learning. I cannot wait to see what others have found on the same topic, and I believe that our findings will inspire some great discussions.
I hope so. It certainly has here. You could visit federationhss.ca/en/Congress 2024. I know that's a mouthful, but federationhss.ca is where you can start for more information. Educational researcher Vedrana Vodopivets, I really appreciate your joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, thank you. We're going to have a look at the NHL's Stanley Cup Final. An old friend, Gord Stellick, will join us on Canada Now. I'm Jeff Sammut at Sirius XM. Canada Talks, Channel 167.